Hi, and welcome back to Purple Collar Life. In today's video, we're going to talk about the LP gas system on our fifth wheel camper, how to change out a regulator, an automatic changeover with regulator, how to tell how full your tank is, and some symptoms that will indicate that you might be having a problem with either the tank or the lines or the regulators or the automatic changeover. Let's get started. Let's first talk about the LP gas system in our fifth wheel. We have two of these compartments at the front of the trailer, one on each side. This is the passenger side. You can see each side has a 30-pound LP tank. In our camper, the LP gas runs the refrigerator when it's not on electricity, runs our heater, runs the propane stove, the LP gas stove inside, and the oven. So those are the four main things that the LP gas runs for us when we're dry camping like we are here at the lake today. Now there's a couple ways to know how much gas is left in this tank. One way is to kind of keep track. So if you've determined over a certain amount of time how long this tank will run the refrigerator, and you know you just filled it up last week, you can kind of determine how much more gas capacity you have in the tank left. But that's a difficult system to track. It's easy to lose track between two different tanks. So what I like to use is a very inexpensive gas watch like this. And this just installs between the exit line of the tank and the valve of the tank. And it gives me a quick visual indication of refill, low gas, and good right here on the display. Now there is a little bit of a problem with this sometimes. These are actually designed for your 20-pound LP tank like would be on your gas grill. So on a 30-pound tank, sometimes the pressure is a little bit too much and they automatically shut off and don't let the gas go through. A little bit better way is this. This is the Mopica LP tank check. This is magnetic on the bottom. It sticks onto the bottom of the tank and sends a signal up through the LP gas to determine how full this tank is. My phone uses a Bluetooth connection to connect to each tank, and I know exactly the level of the gas in tank 1 and tank 2. This is my favorite way to keep track of how much gas is left in the tank. Difficult to see on the camera, but back in here is that automatic changeover regulator. Here's the old one that I did replace. And how this works is, you can see there's a little bubble in here that's showing us yellow, that's showing us red or green, and then this dial with the green dot. When you change it from side to side, it's pointing to one tank or the other. So if I wanted to use this tank here on the passenger side, I'd point the green dot out this way. Then this little indicator would show me green if that tank is full of gas or red if it's out of gas. Now even if it's out of gas and pointed this way, this automatic changeover valve will start using gas from the right hand side, but it's telling me that this tank is red out of gas. Then when I switch the direction like this, it'll show me this tank is red out of gas. I'm now using this side. Now this should change back to green if I have gas, or it'll be red if I don't have gas. Now we started having a couple indications that we had a LP gas problem. First of all, I could catch a faint smell of LP gas when I was outside the camper. Couldn't smell anything inside, but I could smell a little bit of gas outside. The second symptom was I could hear this clicking back behind this cover, which is the back side of our refrigerator. So if you remove this cover, just twist these little knobs, the bottom comes out, the top drops down. So underneath this cover is the back side of the refrigerator. A lot's happening in here with switching over from electronic to LP gas because our refrigerator runs on both. So as soon as there's no more electricity, gas pumps through this gas line into a valve here where there's an electronic ignition powered by the 12-volt battery. It clicks a spark, ignites the gas, goes up an exhaust, heats a reservoir to heat that coolant that then refrigerates the refrigerator. When there's not gas, you'll hear this click repeatedly as that battery ignition tries to ignite the propane. And it's like a tick, 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 tick. it tries really hard to light the gas. If you hear that clicking and then stop, and then clicking and then stop, it means that there's a problem with gas getting to the refrigerator. Now that could be that you're out of gas. It could be that the battery doesn't have enough juice to create enough spark to light the gas. But either way, your refrigerator should tell you that there's a fault and something's not working inside, and it won't stay cold. Just underneath our refrigerator, I forgot to mention we also have a hot water heater that also runs on gas. And it's the same type of system. Here's an ignition. The LP gas pumps through here. Click the power on to the battery. It'll ignite a flame that heats the water. Again, that's only when we're dry camping and don't have electricity. So now we are on the driver's side of the camper, and you can see here's the other cupboard that has the other 30-pound tank. The other thing that's inside here is a smaller regulator that's a 30-pound regulator, 30 psi, just like this. And I noticed that my refrigerator wasn't working. I couldn't get the gas water heater to work. And when I tried to light the stovetop inside, I could get one burner to light, very small flame. None of the other burners would light. So one burner at a time, very small pressure. I came over to this side just to check, kind of see how much gas is in the tank, check my Mopica tank check, and I noticed that down this side was very wet, that this small regulator, which was sitting on the wall inside here, was leaking LP gas down the side. And that was my first indication that I had something wrong with this regulator or a leak somewhere, and I went ahead and ordered a new 30 psi regulator and an automatic changeover for the other side. Now this saved us a couple $100, me doing it myself. So I'm going to talk you through step by step the process I took to replace these two parts, which did fix the problem. So the first thing I changed was this 30 psi regulator inside here. It is held on by two clamps, and there's just a fitting on each side. 1/2 inch wrench removes those two fittings. You use a little bit of, there's a different type of tape. It's not the Teflon water or airline tape, but it's specifically made for LP gas. So you use that on the threading before you install the new valve. Now I'll put Amazon affiliate links to all these things I mentioned down below. I actually ordered my new automatic changeover and 30 psi regulator from Camping World, but I'll see if I can find similar links on Amazon that you could order directly from the description of this video. So I replaced this side first because this one had been leaking. You can actually see it's still a little bit wet and oily on the bottom. And since we were living out of a cooler because the refrigerator didn't work unless we were running the generator, I thought it only makes sense to replace this other side also. Now this one was more expensive. I think this was around $90 to $100. Still cheaper than getting it at the dealership and definitely cheaper to install it myself. And there are 3 connections here. So there's the left-hand side coming in from that other tank, the right-hand side that's coming in from this right-hand side tank, and the bottom that's going out to feed the LP gas system of the camper. You can see underneath this plastic cover, there's actually another regulator right there. So my new one doesn't look exactly like this. I'll show you pictures of the new one being installed, but it was 3 connections, the bottom, the left coming from the other tank, and the right coming from this tank. It's also a different changeover, but it's the same functionality. You choose which side you want it to point to. It tells you when that side is empty with a red indicator. It automatically changes over, and then when you make the switch, it'll change to green saying that this tank is full or the other tank is full, always letting you know which tank is full or empty. But again, I like the Mopica or even those gas watches just to keep a closer eye on when I'm getting close to being empty versus I'm completely out. This entire process took me probably an hour of time to do both regulators. Remember to put that tape on, the proper tape for these connections. It does give you indicators, line in, line in, line out down here at the bottom, and it says out. So it's not a difficult process. You do have to take the tanks out to make these connections and then put them back in. I had to place screws to hold this regulator back on the wall. So it's a little bit of a tight squeeze in there, but if you have a small driver, gun, a drill driver, it's easy enough to get those screws back into the wall where the regulator sits. So this one's sitting back here, currently pointing to this side. We've got plenty of gas in this tank. So like I said, this process saved us a couple $100, cost me about $150 to $180 in parts total, but saved us a couple $100 on someone else installing it. Hopefully this helps you out if you need to install new automatic changeover with regulator and regulator on the other side of your fifth wheel or camper. Same type of regulator is used on a 20-pound tank that's mounted on the front of a travel trailer. It's just differences in where they're located on your RV. I should mention that if your refrigerator stops working, there are a couple other issues that can cause that. So before you start replacing things or suspecting your LP tank, go ahead and check to make sure your stove ignites. If it ignites normally, then your problem is not your LP gas in most cases. We've replaced our refrigerator once and the circuit board once on that refrigerator. So we've also found that there's plenty of things that can go wrong with a refrigerator in a camper as it's kicking on and off many times, especially dry camping as much as we do. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative or entertaining on how to change the automatic changeover and regulator on your RV, please click that thumbs up down below. We really appreciate it. Leave comments down below if you've got other tips on things to check before someone digs into a project like this, or if they're having other issues with their gas water heater, the LP gas running their refrigerator, or their furnace. Thanks for watching. As always, be careful when you're working with propane and gas. Make sure you read instructions, know what you're doing. This video is not in any way meant to be a replacement for instructions from professionals. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again the next time.